The multimedia presentation.
No. I need to be on
Now, 6 o'clock, I'll call this regular city council meeting on March 26th to order. If you will rise, I'll read some invocation followed by the pledge. Dear Father God, thank you for this day that you've given us. Thank you for the many blessings you've bestowed on us. Please help us as we move through tonight's agenda to make wise decisions for the city. Lead, guide, and direct us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
And salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We are now to citizen comment. If you have registered to comment, who do we have?
Mr. Olmsted has requested to speak.
Mr. Olmsted, if you want to speak, please approach the dais. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Al Olmsted at 220 West 2nd Street in Littlefield, and I don't need 3 minutes. I'm here really to speak to the representative of the Underwood Law Firm. We haven't met before, we've corresponded, but basically to fill in the taxpayers for whom I am now speaking. I have notified you that I am going to file a $250 million civil lawsuit against your law firm for legal malpractice, maliciously intentional legal malpractice. That is malpractice is designed to inflict injury, okay? All that's left, the additional charges may be abusive process and malicious prosecution. I say maybe because we have to let the present municipal court action wind its way through to a final judgment status before I can do that. So if you are successful in shaking down Mr. Warren through your phony lawsuit, then you won't be sued for those purposes. But I want to let you know that within this past week, additional information has come to me. I am actively investigating one of the 2 city defendants who will stand defended with you in your law firm for a major felony. And it is financial, it's cash money, and the records of it are in the city records. These are not records that I put together. These are records that the city has put together. Now, if you guys want to play games, you tell these people, you're here shaking us down for $250 an hour, tonight, $750 a month. They're making us pay for you to defend yourself, not to do any service to us. You're not allowed in court. You can never again represent the city of Littlefield in court. You are a complete shakedown artist. And these people are going to get their money back, and I'm telling you, it ain't going to be a little amount. You need to get your act together because it's over. If you know anything about me, I never lie, I never bluff, and I always win. I have never lost a civil or a criminal jury trial in my 62 years in court.
Thank you. This time we'll have introduction of new city employees. Mitch?
Yes, I think we have 2, maybe 3, got 2. Lance, you want to introduce yourself?
Michael Branton here.
Michael Brantley, he's our mechanic.
He's fleet mechanic.
Down in Littlefield, I think he had worked here before, not for the city, but. No? Oh,
No,
all right.
I would say.
Worked for Levelland for a while.
Yes, I did.
Glad to have him.
Worked for Ollie's for a while.
Big gap. So,
Yeah.
and then Monica's got a new,
This is Tanya Williams and Sons, our newest member of our volunteer association. Recently certified National Registry in the state of Texas. I'm very glad to have her aboard.
got one more, but I think they're on call right now.
Yes, sir, he's on a call
two neighbors can't get along.
Congratulations, we're glad to have all of
Michael's
you.
last
Thank you
name.
for being a part of the team. If y'all want to leave, you don't have to sit through the meeting if you don't want to. This time, we'll consider and approve minutes from the February 26th regular meeting, March 11th, and March 14th special meetings. If you have any additions or corrections, please make them known. If there are no additions or corrections, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as read?
Make a motion to approve minutes as read from February 24th.
Second.
Motion's been made by Johnny, seconded by Michael, that we approve the minutes as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve monthly departmental reports, police department, fire department, EMS, code enforcement, animal control, landfill, water, wastewater, streets and parks, municipal court, monthly financial reports, sales tax collection, property tax collection reports, and LEDC A and B minutes as boards met. If you have a question, please identify the page.
I don't know if there's a particular page for my question, but I was noticing that we're missing some funds, balances, and I don't know if this is normal or not, but there's no information for the Park and Rec Fund, Blight Elimination Fund, or Airport Fund in our reports, as far as I can tell. Maybe I missed it. And I think that would be necessary to be included in the reports so that we can have a good grasp of what those balances are.
Mitch and Andrew, do you have any comments, Andrew, about how the reports are generated?
I'll get it next time.
We usually just put out the general and utility fund, but I think it's a good idea. We could do a fund balance sheet, just a little spreadsheet that shows all the different, we count for them, so we can write them down really easy with a little spreadsheet.
The reason I brought it up, because it was actually shown in the audit report, and I was looking through our regular items here, and I couldn't find it, so I wanted to see where those numbers were accounted for.
We can start putting those in there. That's not that big a deal. It'd be a useful tool.
Is there any other questions on the departmental reports? If none, can I get a motion to approve the monthly departmental reports?
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Renee. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we'll have a report on the old landfill closure with Rich Aller, Engineering. Mitch?
I figured it's about time for an update on where we're at. Rich has been working hard through channels with the TCEQ and with his engineer, Mike O'Connell, which is no longer living. But thought he could kind of come give us an update on where we're at right now and what all has transpired in our dealings with your TCEQ.
Poster for before we can do that.
We got Hazel.
Okay, all right, hold it. How's this?
You can stand for
Perfect, right? You can see it so well because the lines are so fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the landfill that's in question we're trying to close. It's the old landfill. This is the existing contours with some low spots, as you can see in here. TCEQ is going through a huge transition right now. New people, new inspectors, all that kind of stuff. So everything continues to change with them, both in solid waste, water, and wastewater. So we had some changes that happened since we applied first for the supplemental environmental project, which simply means that we're going to use money to close this landfill ourselves. We were going to contract this out. TCEQ has made some changes to what they want in the final product, which is going to raise the cost of that closure. So once I found that out, I went to them and said, that's going to make a lot of burden be put on the contractor, thereby causing the cost of closure to increase. Could we possibly, I already knew the answer before I asked, could we possibly do this in-house with our own forces? They said, sure. So that reduces, if we do that, I talked to Mitch about it, if we do that, that reduces our cost substantially in closing this. So that's kind of the plan. And what we're gonna do is pretty simple. We have to move some dirt. That's pretty much it, and build a fence. So we're gonna go with a simple contour plan, which just simply means we're moving the dirt that's already there and contouring it so it slopes away from everything, which is what we were gonna do before. Nothing different than having a contractor do it, except we're gonna do it ourselves. By doing that, we still have some testing that we have to do. We're gonna come in and do that with the city, okay? So that's gonna cut the cost down. Typically, a contractor would have to do that. So he's gonna mark that stuff up quite a bit. So we still have to do some testing to show that we've got compaction over this site, so it doesn't erode. Okay? We're just gonna do that also in-house and get a soil group to come in and pull the samples and do the tests. We can do it in place. So we've kind of gone through this full circle with these guys. Now we're pulling it back and saying, thanks a lot, but we're just gonna take care of it in-house. And they said, fine. So we have their blessing. Christian Hernandez is the person we've been working with at TCEQ. And so we have her approval about a week and a half ago. She approved us just doing it. So we're gonna start on this, probably start on this week with your crews. So that's kind of where we are with the landfill. Same plan, just that we're not gonna use a contractor to do it. We're just gonna go in there and do it with our forces. We'll be out there. We, meaning our firm, will be out there to help with the guidance of what we need to have as a finished product. So that we get it looking, it's not gonna look exactly like this. We can't get the lines that perfect like we can on a drawing, but it's gonna look similar to this.
Now, Rich, we still have to spend that minimum amount.
You still have to spend the minimum amount,
Right.
okay? And so one of the things we're looking at is you're gonna need a couple of new pits.
Mhm.
So they're in line with what you've already got. So one of the things that Mitch and I have talked about is bidding out, digging those pits. We're gonna need some dirt. Probably have to have some dirt over here. So if we bid those out, then we will have spent the money that you're supposed to spend, okay, for the benefit of us. You get the pits, and we get the dirt. So if the bid part would be just for these 2 new pits. And possibly a third at Site 4, where we would dig one there, and maybe use one of these as an alternate bid item if we wanted to.
Is that
But
right?
yeah, that's correct. We still have to spend the money. So,
Is our minimum cost including in-kind work that we do?
it is.
The cost of our employees take.
We've got
He's taking that up to that level.
I can't remember the number, 60,
We've got to spend, with the contractor, my understanding
Oh, the
is
contractor.
68,000.
68 is what I was
Which
saying,
is
68
about,
something.
about 1.5 pits.
So we have to spend that. We're required by TCEQ to spend that amount. That's the fine. That's what it amounts to. That was the fine that they imposed.
Okay, so what you're saying is the in-kind amount that we provide will not satisfy that cost?
Well, no, we still have to spend that money because but we can use it to our benefit, rather than just writing a check to TCEQ, which is what typically happens. We can use that money to our benefit, okay? But we have to spend it, that's correct.
They just pile the dirt up like they normally do on the side of the pit, and we'll
That's
take a
right.
scraper over there.
Right, we get a scraper, and take it over there, or they can take some as we need it. We're gonna start putting, we've got quite a bit of dirt out here on this site. We've got some mounds of dirt, down here, up here. We've got some pretty big mounds of dirt that we can flatten those mounds out and push over the lower spots. That's what we're gonna start with, so we can kind of have an idea of how much dirt we have to move in.
So you drive grading stakes that they'll grade too.
Yep.
One of the things, big picture on this thing is the state wants us to close this old landfill.
Yeah, they want it gone.
And
Yeah.
if you're not familiar with TCQ, what the TCQ wants, they get. And they'll get it one way or another, they'll get it through fines, or they'll get one way or another. So we've got to close the old landfill. It's used up, it's not worth the amount of fines and things you can get from trying to keep it up. But the guys have done just a phenomenal job of reducing some of those piles, the concrete, the brush, they've packed it down, they've kind of got it pretty much ready to start doing this with.
Right.
Now, we have a year after we sign our agreement to get this landfill closed.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's plenty of time, and we've got some great hands out there that really roll. You know.
And I'd like to see us get that done sooner than later, so that we don't have to deal with TCEQ. Once we get their blessing on it and we close it, then that's it. We close the chapter on that book and we move on to just maintaining what we've got. And so the quicker we can do that, the better, and the less exposure the city has. So, that's kind of where we are.
Thank you, Rich.
Anybody got any questions? I'm not sure I can answer them, but I'll try. How's that?
I'd just like to say, I think Rich has done a great job. TCQ will not deal with a city and things like this. They will only deal with an engineering. And Rich has done a good job, I think, of negotiating and getting what we want.
Thank you, Rich.
Yes, sir.
We'll now move on to consider and approve interlocal agreement and engineering contract with Parkville Smith and Cooper for the 2019 Bruce Silco program.
This is the Silco program we talked about at the first year and, or after budget time. So, we put this off from last year, and it's the same streets that we talked about last year. So they're in the process of getting bids to do this work. So, I feel like we really do need this. We need probably about twice as much or 3 times as much. This is what's in the budget. I have a map in there that shows you the streets that we're planning on doing. I can go over those right quickly. All these streets are just regular seal code except for Keeling Street out north of the elementary school, one block, maybe 1.5 block dirt street. We're gonna do a double course on that, which will make a really nice road. And then down here on Ninth Street, parallels 54, there's a dirt street there, and Ash Avenue, just a little short street by the old nursing home. And then on West 8th, there's a half a block there that's just never been developed as a street, so we're gonna shape it and then do a double course on that. And then the rest of them are in the, just kind of in the confines of Wayne Jennings and Wicker and Park Street. Those are all the worst streets. Individual streets, there's some worse ones around town, but as a group, this is the top one for having a patch.
What was the amount that we have allocated for this?
I'm sorry?
What was the amount that we allocated for this?
100,000.
Is that in there in the contract somewhere?
It's in,
I don't know.
no, I don't think it's this one here. No.
Why do we keep them from going over budget?
Well, it's, what we do is we tell them, you got $100,000, you better include your engineering in that. Basically, what you do it.
So,
In other words,
what you
you
have.
better not order more material than you got.
What you have
engineering
marked
for.
here is guaranteed $100,000.
That's it, yeah, that's the way we play.
All right.
Now, one of the things about this asphalt is, they may end up with more than what we estimated in the amount, so they may end up going up, Sunset a little bit. That's what we kind of figured would be the best area to just kind of start at Leyland and go north with what left over tonight. But this item is the interlocal agreement and the engineering contract.
Motion to approve the interlocal agreement and engineering contract.
Make a motion to approve the seal coat contract.
Second.
Motion's been made by Johnny, seconded by Michael. We approve the interlocal agreement and engineering contract. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve seal coat for Texas Civil Commitment Center BCF parking lot finish.
As an option this summer with their seal coat, we could get them to do the asphalt out at the commitment center. It's right at like 74,000 square feet, 2,200 and something square yards, and I figured probably 18 to 25,000. If y'all want to do it, we would pay for it out of fund number 8, the commitment center fund. Condition of it, it's not the worst I've seen, but you could definitely use a seal coat on it. Sure, it can wait, but it's your call. If you want to go ahead and add that in this summer or not.
We've been asked to do this, or is it in?
No, not really. We just had discussed it in talking to him, but we haven't committed ourselves to anything.
What, I know it's gonna be under new management. Have they discussed the expansion of the parking lot any?
They haven't said anything about having the need more.
I'd
Need
like
for more
to
parking.
wait until maybe next
Yeah.
year, see if we needed an expansion or something. and
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
make that big principal payment.
Right.
That's what I like to do. If we're gonna do any future work on it as far as expansion, I think we gotta wait and then do it then if we need to.
Not a problem if y'all wanna.
If there's no motion to approve this, we'll move on. Is there a motion? We'll move on. Next, we'll consider and approve tax deed for the trust property in the city of Littlefield from Texas Community Groups, property ID 17546 at 615 Southwest Side Avenue. It's on page 88 of your agenda with the tax deed, and there's a description of the property on page 94.
That's a little house facing, the Kingdom. It's a pretty nice house. It actually, these people had planned to redeem it, but in redeeming it, they wouldn't get a very good title because, I think there's some deaths and things like that. So they went ahead and went through the seizure process and bid for it online with Texas CG, and it's great because we get all of that money there. It goes into our blight elimination fund instead of just a pro rata share if it had been redeemed. So we haven't had any problems with the owner there. I mean, they do.
Is it proper to sell something like this without it passing the redemption point? I'm sorry, is it proper to sell something like this before it's past redemption date?
They do all the time. They just, with the knowing that they've got the redemption date, they put them up for sale. And, people that buy them, you know, they have in there that, about the redemption. This one here is probably pretty close to the
It's May the 1st.
May.
May the 2nd, actually.
Yeah, so this one here is actually really close, but some of the other ones, sell, a little before the redemption.
I would just be concerned if a person had the tax lien on it and was trying to gather money and waited till the last moment some people are procrastinators. I don't know the status on that. I don't wanna be liable for something if we're,
No, we won't be, and,
It's a really, yeah, I mean, it's kind of your great point, and the buyers should be concerned about that. But that's the risk they're taking in doing it now instead of waiting a couple months.
I think,
It doesn't impact the city. I mean, we don't-
okay.
I think Texas, she kind of goes over that with them to let them know, hey, you may not, you may want to wait till after May.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the chance is slim. It says unknown heirs of Giorgio Diaz Senior deceased.
exactly.
So, I mean,
So
the
they-
chances to find somebody who actually can, says, hey, I'm an heir to this property, it's probably gonna be sold next month.
No, but like it says in the deed, it's expressly subject to the right of redemption.
Okay. All right.
They're very well aware of it.
I'll make the motion to go ahead and approve this. That's it.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ben, seconded by Renee, that we approve this tax deed for property 17546. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, we will have a mayoral proclamation for the 100th anniversary of Pleasant Park Church of Christ take place on November 17th, 2019. You can see that proclamation on page 97, and the letter from the preacher asking for that on the page 98. There's no action. That's a proclamation of the sign and send it to Park Church. Next, we will consider an improvement ordinance of the city of Littlefield, Texas, amending chapter 1, section 1.06.091 of the city of Littlefield Code of Ordinances, amending fees for recreational vehicle park area on Hall Avenue, designating the responsible party for collection of fees, how collected fees are distributed, setting out a penalty for violation of up to $500, providing for severability clause, and providing for an effective date. Mitch?
I just basically took the ordinance that passed last time and tried to X out everything that related to fees and the effect of fees on those spaces. But before y'all get into it, I just want to make sure everybody has a clear understanding of what we've got out there. Number one, there's not a whole lot of money, going back and forth on this thing either way, so, I mean, we can handle whatever you guys decide. Prior to 2016, you got a $20 donation that was on the honor system, and anybody stayed over 4 days, you put, $20 in the deal, and they went out and collected it. There was really no enforcement as far as going out there and making people pay. Somewhere along the line, I'm not sure what year, but the chamber made put in some improvements for the RV park there, which we call the chamber section. And they, the equipment and stuff was donated, and that was a thing that was done to make money for the chamber. And so they collected money only on Celebrate Littlefield those 2 weeks during that. So, everything was going along just fine, and then all of a sudden we started getting the construction folks in there, and they were setting up, filling up every spot, staying there for months on end. And so we were a little bit afraid about the possibility of, running up a bunch of electric bills and things like that, and just costing the city a lot of money. So what we did is we enforced the regulations as far as the $20. We went out and we collected it on the Wade and Jennings part. And then we started noticing the increased number of people on the chamber side. So went to the chamber and said, hey, if you guys want to charge $20 for your deal over there, we'll split it with you and help you collect it, and we'll keep half of it for, to offset the electric bill. So that's kind of where we're at right there. So bottom line is the city gets all of the Wayland Jennings proceeds, but we get half of the chamber's proceeds to offset the electricity. Now, just to note, so that the information makes sense to you, the money actually goes in an opposite direction. The money all comes into the city, and then we give the chamber half of that $20 a day. But, you know, I know it's kind of hard to kind of get your grasp of, but we did this just so the city wouldn't lose a bunch of money on those spaces out there from people that just, contractors and workers just sitting up there and taking, you know, huge advantage of what we had out there.
I noticed that, that payment to the Chamber of Commerce happened before I got on city council, so the question is, did the city council approve that expense, that money to go to the Chamber of Commerce?
There wasn't an ordinance prohibiting it. There's only an ordinance covering the Wayland Jennings portion. Previously, the horseshoe part was kind of dilapidated and had bad electrical pedestals and no sewer system. Through the Celebrate Littlefield events, the chamber spent money and got donations of supplies and spent money and put in new pedestals and sewer line. And so it kind of got it up to a point that it could operate. And then it started getting abused, like he said, when the construction workers came in, they started setting up over there because it was not being enforced, but so they were using free electricity and utilities. And so,
Do we have an interlocal agreement with the county to use that property?
correct.
We do?
Yes, or the baseball fields, I believe.
Yeah,
horseshoe
it-
is
it
on
goes with
there.
the-
That is.
Yeah, it comes with a baseball field agreement.
Okay. Anybody have any idea when that was done?
No.
Because I asked the judge and he didn't know either, so.
I think if I remember right, I think it's like every 5-6 years that
Did we find that information?
it comes up, I think.
So what I'm thinking is,
Sure, we
we
can.
need to, if we're gonna be, having an interlocal agreement with the county, we probably need to work on an interlocal agreement with the chamber to be able to authorize that fund transfer,
And also,
if we were to.
yeah, and I don't know, I think the agreement had a year set on it.
Remember that?
Yeah, but it was like, it was like a lot, yeah, it was like, the contract was like, you know, like 10, 15 years, and then they come back and, but I'm not 100% sure what the years were on that contract.
So we've got two ordinances in here that, I guess the original and the amended one.
Just a clean version of,
So one of the questions that comes up though is the chamber use of that part during the celebration. You know, they collect money from that for their RVs to stay there. So we need to come up with something on that would satisfy that. I know that's what I'm talking about, the old agreement, because I believe that part probably doesn't need to be kept out because that's part of the celebration. It has been since the beginning. So,
that shouldn't be a big problem.
In 2016 is whenever it used to just have water and electricity. The pedestals had got shot, burned up, breakers. We go in here and we replaced all this stuff. We got private donations.
okay.
Everything, all the work was volunteer. We put in a 400-foot sewer line to help the project. It even goes back south all the way down to 17th Street. That's where all these new pedestals came in.
With the current ordinance we have in effect, it addresses the part with the chamber being paid and how they pay the money on that. So what Brian is saying, you know, if you want to pass this new ordinance, it will take all of that out and it won't become an issue. The chamber is not another governmental entity, and therefore an interlocal agreement isn't necessary. But if you want it to be double sure, triple net safe, I mean, you could have a written agreement with the chamber of how that's done, but it wouldn't be required.
Yeah, we can certainly contract with them, but really what needs to be the focus of the discussion is whether to pass the new ordinance as presented, or basically if this doesn't pass, it's what was passed last month is continues.
I do like the new ordinance because it does open up the fact that people who stay longer than 3 or 4 days can go and find a private place to put their RV. And that's, we're not in the RV park business in the city of Littlefield. We're there providing it as a service for those who come in temporarily.
That never was the intention of going against the ones that were paying, or it was all volunteer service. I mean, the parks were free for a reason. You got baseball teams coming in, you've got horseshoe teams coming in, and that's why all this was set up in the first place.
Yeah, for 3 or 4 days. If they
For 3 days.
spend more than that, then, it needs to go.
But then you have people that come in and they'll check in on, Friday afternoon. They spend the weekend, you got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If they get up and skip out without paying, you're getting there to where that $24 or.
Well, our ordinance is set up for 4 days anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I believe the information at the RV park says 4 days is free. That's what it says on the board.
So you would like to see at the end of 4 days, we go out there and say you're no longer welcome here, you need to move on?
It was like if we go to a private RV park, like Molly's RV Park, or Sunset Slope, or, I don't know, Rucker may have an RV park out there, who knows?
Well, I would like to leave it the way it is. Have them stay the 4 days, and then we go out there and we collect the $20 after the 4 days. I don't think you should be able to request for them to leave,
So we're gonna be in the RV park business then?
Well, I wouldn't say the RV park business, it's just being cordial to
We're
the people.
250% higher than Jim's deal, so if they're looking long-term, economics is gonna drive them over to Sunset Slopes, because they can stay there for quite a bit less. So, That's a decision.
I'd like to see it, I'd like to see it, it'll still be free, like Michael said. This is for the people that come into Littlefield to stay here for a while, they may have family here, and just see what Littlefield has to offer.
Well, it's gonna stay free for 4 days. That doesn't change it.
And then the 3 days, free, or 4 days?
4 days.
Yeah, but then after the 4 days, we're gonna go ask them to move, and I don't think we should give them an option.
You don't think it's proper to direct them to a place that is privately owned?
We can give them the option to pay the $20 or recommend that they go stay at Sunset Slope if they don't wanna pay the $20.
Mitch has pushed a lot of people when they've asked for long-term stay, have you not sent a lot of people to Sunset Slope?
The city hall refers them to Sunset Slope or wherever.
Yeah.
Don't they, Mike? Matt, Mitch?
I just don't want the people to be,
We may need to raise the price on that, when they stay that 5th day, it's go for $50 a day. I've stayed in RV parks anywhere from $18 to $100.
Well, then that might be what we need to do. What is Molly's RV Park charge per day?
there's not a Molly's RV park.
Yeah, there is.
So we have an ordinance in effect right now that we charge after 4 days. What's before us tonight is if you want to approve this new ordinance doing away with charging, we will need a motion to put that ordinance into effect. Ben, are you gonna make a motion on this?
Well, I like the idea of changing the price, because that sounds like a legitimate option, but that wasn't part of what we're talking about tonight. No. I don't know, I think it's a good idea to always leave them open for other things. Just coming in 4 days is great. They're gonna get their free days, 4 days for free. Not gonna be kicked out before 4 days, and then they can go to a private RV park. If other ones open up, that would be a better opportunity for Littlefield, because we wanna support local businesses. We don't wanna be in the RV park business. I don't think we need to be in the RV park business. Of course, I may be the only one up here thinking that, but I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve this, new ordinance.
there's no second, this motion will die for a lack of second. Can I have a second? There is no second. This concludes our agenda for tonight. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. What did you learn a lot?
Yeah, I guess so. Got my subway ordered on the phone while. Smart.